It's Luke here again from the Tradie Marketing Agency, where we help you grow your tradie business. So I was pondering the other day, as I often do, about the difficulties in managing cash flow. It seems like it should be pretty clear cut. Clear cut. I mean, the equation is very simple. It's just simply like revenue minus expenses equals profit. So if it's so simple, why are cash flow problems the number one killer of small business? Can we not all do basic maths? But did you know that 50% of businesses who fail are profitable when they do? So it turns out there is a bit more to this story than meets the eye. So let's take revenue, for example. Is revenue something that you can predict with certainty? Revenue can be affected by all sorts of events, such as late payments, cancellations, changes to the quote, fees, for example, if they're paying by bank transfer or card, client goes bankrupt, building permits not approved, and also like seasonal fluctuations like the weather. Many of us in the trades businesses, if you're doing any work outdoors, if it's pissing down rain, you can't do much, right? How about expenses? So you've got staff turnover. Supplier bills vary from job to job, depending on what materials are used. You've got, rent and leasing raises. You've got new regulations that can come in, as well as tax increases. And then there are the just completely unexpected things. So you've got the getting into a car accidents, the injuries at work, broken equipment that needs to be replaced, callbacks on jobs when something wasn't done right, theft, and lost items, just to name a few. So all of these things, they're very hard to build into like a neat little equation, right? That's not as simple as just revenue minus expenses equals profit. You've got all these other almost like random dice rolls that can come in to affect things. So what can we do to make our cash flow and our finances a little bit more disaster proof? And it's a very simple answer. It's with a buffer. So think of a buffer as like a suspension in your car in case the road isn't very smooth or there's potholes, right? If you had no suspension in your car, it would be a very, very rough ride, and you'd likely, end up crashing or just breaking your vehicle in a very short amount of time. The easiest way to go about doing this is to set up different accounts in your bank, right? So, and start off and pick a number that might be, say, 5% or 10% of your revenue simply goes into this, disaster proof, buffer. And then that just means that, well, two things. One, you've got to focus on, making your business work with 10% or like 5% less, income, which in turn will make you more profitable because you'll be forced to cut down on expenses in different places or earn more money so that you can do this. And then over time, this buffer will build and build and build so that when these random dice rolls do occur, you've actually got the money set aside for it. When I was starting the business, the amount of times I got caught out with unexpected tax bills and things like that, like BAS bills, and you're just like, I haven't set aside enough for this, or whatever. Or you've got to replace a bit of equipment, or maybe things are a bit quieter that month, so you've got to do a bit more marketing. These are all things that can add tremendous amounts of stress to you when you're running your business. But if you've been steadily just putting aside some cash for these events, it means that over time your business grows progressively more and more bulletproof. like imagine if you got to the point where you had a year's worth of expenses, like covered, like, you could like literally not earn a dime for a year, and you could pay like staff, wages, material, all that kind of stuff. You'd be in a pretty bulletproof situation. So that's what I'd want for you guys is, if you're not already doing this, start putting aside money towards your buffer, so that if you do have shortfalls in revenue or unexpected bills come up for the month, you're not in jeopardy of sinking your ship. If you found this useful, or you'd like some help with your own marketing, at the Tradie Marketing Agency, we help you out with your websites, with things like online advertising, like your SEO and your Google AdWords. Or if you just want to, get more free resources like this, head over to the tradiemarketingagency.com.au.